Welcome to the 100 Master Coaches series featuring master coaches from around the world. Let's journey together on this 100 Master Coaches series with your host, Coach Mel, MCC. Dr. Patrick Williams is a psychologist turned executive coach, philanthropist, and educator. After 15 years as a practicing therapist, he became one of the coaching industry's founding pioneers, helped found the ICF, and began coaching the global village to deliver the power of the coach approach to communities of all sizes in developing nations. Now on to the show.
Hello, and welcome to the 100 Master Coaches. I am Coach Mel, and today we've got a special guest. He is Dr. Pat Williams from Colorado. Give him a big hand. Woohoo! Welcome. It's so good to have you on the show.
Yeah.
Are you gonna belt that song for us, Rocky Mountain High?
No.
Well, it's a great song, a great singer. I used to love John Denver when I was growing up. The only song I knew to sing in public, let me just say this, it was Country Road. And I used to belt it all the time. But anyway, here we go. We're going to just jump into this interview. And the first question is, tell us about your coaching journey. How did it all begin for you?
Well, that's probably going to relate to the other parts of the interview. But, I was a psychologist. Although I think I was like a sheep in wolf's clothing. Not the other way around. So I got my training and degrees in humanistic and transpersonal psychology, more of the whole person, body, mind, spiritual, consciousness raising. I wasn't planning to become a clinical psychologist.
Okay.
I was wanting to be a college professor or a teacher in some way. And then I got licensed. So 15 years as a psychologist, I saw a lot of people with post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
I saw survivors of veterans of war, sex abuse survivors, and then child therapy, family therapy. Yeah. But I was always coach-like, even before I knew the term. I didn't want to see people as their diagnosis. I wanted to see them as a person who had challenges, and let's design your future.
Yeah.
Well, then I started coaching with a group hired me to be the executive coach for places like Hewlett-Packard and IBM here in Colorado, because she was doing team building with a team, and I was supposed to coach the executive of that team.
Got it.
So that's how I coached for 5 years before I even found out about the ICF when it started in 95.
Yep.
I was an executive coach for 90 to 95, about 10 hours a week.
Wow. And that is amazing. And then you kind of got roped into coaching, and I hear that you're one of the founding partners of ICF.
Yes. So in 95, I read an article in Newsweek about Thomas Leonard, and then I saw something on TV, and then I read something else. All of a sudden, I got to go to this conference in Houston, right? So I went to the conference in 1995, and that's when we formed the ICF.
Wow.
The Personal and Professional Coaches Association of California joined, and we created the International Coach Federation with funding from Thomas Leonard at the time. So I'm a founding member and one of the first MCCs that back in 1999, I think we granted 25 MCCs to people who had been coaching prior to the creation of the ICF.
Yeah. Wow. That must be great, amazing early days of coaching.
It was fun. I don't know if you've ever read the book Celestine Prophecy, but it's like 187 of us showed up in Houston in 1995, and we all felt like we don't know how we got here or why we're here, but something good's going to happen, And
it's like
that's what happened.
The stars got aligned, and all of you were in the same room.
Yes.
I wonder how that felt in that room on that special day, and Thomas was there, because I've obviously read a lot about Thomas.
Yeah.
He is like our great grandfather or something.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. He was an innovator. I remember being so excited, I actually cried because I said, I'm not a psychologist anymore. I'm a coach. and it was like better for me. And I sat in
Wow.
between Laura Berman Fortgang and Cheryl Richardson, both of whom
Oh
became
wow.
famous authors. So I sat right there
Yes.
between them before they wrote any books. And
Wow.
that was 25 years ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a fan of Cheryl.
Oh, great friend. She's been my angel a couple of times during my career. So yeah.
Oh wow. I could just focus the whole interview on that point, on everything that you just said about that whole ICF creation. I've got one more question about that. So when that happened and you were there in that room and all the stars and future stars were there, what did that make you feel, being a part of this bigger community of future crazies that would change the world? Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, that's interesting to use that term because I've always been part of Future Crazies. I've always been part of what's next.
Yeah.
You know, being a hippie in the 60s and 70s and a flower child and all that kind of stuff, it was like, I'm not going to follow the rules that are expected of me, but I'll be obedient and congruent in my
Yeah.
values.
Yeah.
But I saw coaching as a vehicle for human change that was better than anything that had come before.
Wow.
Because it was a partnering. It was somehow Thomas Leonard and others prior to that had created this way. This is a conversation with somebody where you don't have to be broken to go get help.
Yep.
You don't have to need a psychotherapist or a priest or it's like a committed listener who's not part of your family. And I could see it. It's like I had a periscope. I could see around the corner. I could see what was coming. So that's why I got excited. And then later on, of course, I wrote books and created my own school. And it's like, I had no idea it would take off like it did. I mean, really. But I knew it was important for the world to have the concept of coaching available to people who just couldn't do it by themselves. I mean, we all need somebody to talk to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would like to bring the audience through that journey now into your first couple of years of coaching. Obviously, it was a little different from what you were doing as a psychologist.
Yeah.
Tell us about your early years of coaching.
Well, there's kind of two chapters of that. So when I was doing executive coaching while I was a psychologist, I would wear my coat and tie and go to the workplace. I would go into Hewlett Packard or IBM or Kodak and coach people in their office.
Yep.
And I'd probably use the same skills I would have used as a counselor, but I got to charge twice as much.
Wow, fun days.
Yeah. But then when the coaching movement, I'm going to call it the coaching movement, when that started in 95, and it had early roots in the late 90s, late 80s. I mean, Thomas Leonard started coaching with a group of actors in New York in 1989.
Wow.
So it was early. But when the movement started to pick up steam, my first 2 years were so exciting because I was pretty well known in my small town in Colorado as a psychologist. But the people that knew me well weren't going to come see me as a psychologist. It would be, the stigma of.
Yes.
But when I had an article in the paper about starting a coaching business, my lawyer, my golfing buddy, people from Rotary Club, they all of a sudden I could use a coach.
Yep.
So I got pretty busy in about 6 months, and then I moved to Florida with a new relationship. And those clients that I had in Colorado started to dwindle away. They're done, right?
Yeah.
Then it got hard. I was in a new community, in a new relationship, in a new job, and it was a struggle to get clients in the beginning. I then got them, and then I closed my psychology license. I let it go in 2000. So 1996, I went full-time into coaching.
Yep.
And then in 2000, I said, I don't need my psychology license anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore. I still have my doctorate, right? But so I've had my ups and downs and specialties, and then there's other parts of the journey we'll talk about too.
Wonderful.
Writing
Wonderful.
books, creating a school, etc.
Yeah. Wow. So you kind of like packed up in a sense, literally, right? Packed up and went, right, on that journey, right?
Yes.
Packed up, went on a journey and found many things along the way, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more, like when you were in Florida and that started to thrive a little bit and got some footing.
My life has been like a journey. I've lived in lots of places, and I've lived in lots of houses in different places. I'm always looking for the next adventure. But Florida wasn't a place I ever thought I wanted to live, but I met a woman that I wanted to be with after my first marriage ended in divorce after 21 years. 5 years later, I married this other woman, and we lived in Florida. And
beautiful.
It was okay for a while. I mean, I didn't want to live there all time. I wanted to live there part-time, but the economy didn't allow that.
Yep.
But I met, actually through Cheryl Richardson, I got a contact in Orlando through an organization that trained lawyers. And she said, they're looking for a trainer and a coach. So I went to them, and I ended up training lawyers on how to work smarter, not harder, and it's kind of business orientation. But then I became a coach for the lawyers that took that training for 6 months or a year after that. So that was a specialty that started. Well, then I started thinking, okay, I'm a former therapist who got to be coaching. So I started going to therapy conferences and talking about what I did.
That's cool.
And I went to one conference that a friend of mine was doing, and she had me get up and talk for 30 minutes. After that conference, 7 people in the audience hired me to be their coach. And 5 of them became the faculty of my school that I started the next year.
Wow.
So it was like serendipity and synchronicity are how I follow my life. Things happen. I pay attention to them. So my school and my coaching in the early days focused on therapists who wanted to add coaching to their business or transition into coaching. I wasn't thumbing my nose at psychology or psychotherapy. I was just saying there's another way. Coaching can be an additional business opportunity, or you can get out of the whole medical model and get into coaching. And so that's what I specialized in for many years.
Wonderful. And that kind of moves us very nicely to the next question, which is the brave question. And I'm sure every step of the way there was some sort of brave there, but I'm going to ask you for that bravest moment, I guess, in the area of coaching.
In the area of coaching. Well, I think it was the move away from what was known. My daughters were only 19 and 17 at the time when I moved to Florida. Looking back, it probably wasn't the best decision I could have made, but I did it. I took a risk. I started a school without realizing I was going to start a school. I had a whole bunch of therapists who said, well, we need you to create a curriculum on coaching. And I said, I don't know how to create a curriculum. And they said, okay, listen, you talk, we'll type.
Oh, wow.
So just like Thomas Leonard did, he would get us all together. He'd talk about something, and then a class would come out of it. So I had these people write what I was teaching, and it became the first 30 hours of a school I started called the Institute for Life Coach Training. So that was a risk. It was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but people are paying me to take this training. And then that school, I sold it 15 years later. I still teach for them, but it's, I was the 12th approved school by the ICF in the world. And now there's hundreds and hundreds.
Yes, and I run one of them.
Yes. Yeah. So that was a risk. It was a risk. I didn't quite know what I'm doing. I've been self-employed. I've had a good boss for 35 years, me. Um, but I didn't have a very good retirement plan. That guy wasn't very good. But when I sold my school, that helped, you know. So
Mm,
and now at age 70, I still coach a little bit. I volunteer. I donate stuff
yeah,
to Navy
yeah.
SEAL, that sort of
You,
thing.
it's funny that you just say that. It's like, is there a retiring age, right, for a coach? I don't know.
No, no, no. I won't use the word retirement.
Yes.
In fact, with my clients, I said, let's call it pro-tirement, proactive.
Yes,
What
that's
are you
right.
going to do? So now I call what I'm doing repurposing.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not
Yeah.
trying to build a coaching business. I have an online course that I'll mention at the end.
Yep.
I have a way that I call my living legacy, but I will
Yeah.
always work purposely.
Mm.
I
That's so
won't
good.
work full time. You know, I
That's so
still
good.
play golf and hike and take care of the
Yes, of
grandkids and that
course.
sort of thing.
Of course.
But I'm
And
still
those,
involved.
I would love to be, I'm not saying that you are, you're definitely older.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just beautiful because on the flip side of things, if you were employed, you would actually be retired by now, right? And of
Right.
course, they have benefits on that. But on the other hand, it's one of those things. The organizations of the world will often reduce the value along the line, isn't it? It's like, oh, we could have paid for 3 people hiring you, kind of thing,
Right.
and
Right.
and coaching is like the reverse, right? Because the older you get, you're like, if you want to be continuing,
Uh-huh.
the higher the value. It's just
Well, yeah, because
strange
I
dynamic.
know I could charge a lot for coaching if I still wanted to coach leaders and executives. I mean, I have
Yeah,
a reputation. I could charge a lot of money,
yeah.
but money has never been my driving force.
Mm,
I've always worked. I've always worked to have a comfortable lifestyle. I
yeah,
never wanted to be super rich or have yachts or anything like that. So I've
yeah,
just been comfortable.
yeah. That's so beautiful. A wonderful place to be.
Yes.
Over that coaching years, 30 years actually, right? You were
Yes.
saying you were an executive coach in the 1990, right? So
Yes.
that's
Exactly.
30 wonderful years. I'm just going to ask you for your 3 top insights through that decade, just like one for every decade.
Oh my. Okay. Uh, well, in the early years, I think the value was to see how a confidential conversation with a coach as a
Mm,
partner, instead
mm,
of that doctor-patient relationship in psychotherapy,
yeah,
people love that. People loved having a confidant
yeah.
that they could talk to, even if they were sent to coaching, like Hewlett Packard and coaching. They sent their executives to me.
Yes, I
You know, you're
understand
going to
that.
get 6 months of coaching or else.
Oh, oh no.
But I would still talk about whatever they wanted:
Yeah,
health, family, relationship.
yeah,
And I saw the value of people having a coach who's objective, committed listener.
mm,
And then when it started off the second decade, probably in the early 21st century, I saw that, oh, a lot of people wanted to train to be a coach,
mm.
and a lot of people were natural coaches. So I think the
Yeah,
second
it's true.
insight is people don't need a coach; they deserve a coach.
Wow, wow.
And if that can be part of somebody's marketing, you don't need a coach, but you deserve a coach. Who
That's true.
can't benefit from having a partner to talk to increase what they want to do in their business or their life or their health?
Yeah,
Health, wealth, love, and happiness. Everything falls under that.
that's so
Health,
true.
wealth, love, and happiness. And then I think the third insight, I'm just making this up as I go.
It's so right.
Now that
So
the
good.
coaching movement has grown,
Mm,
I think the third insight is that people will hire you, or people will benefit from a coach who's authentic. I
mm.
mean, there's a lot of people that take a 24-hour training and they say they're a certified coach.
Yes.
But people can, just like consultants aren't licensed. A bad consultant won't get business. A bad coach won't get business.
Yeah.
So if you're authentic and real, which is a lot of what I train about today,
Yeah.
you're going to be hired more because of who you are, not what you do.
Yes.
That's the insight right there.
Yes.
It's more important to be who you are than what you do. You don't do coaching, you be coaching.
So beautiful, so beautiful. And just flowing with that thought, it's not about the what of coaching, isn't it? It's about the who in coaching. So we're not coaching the problem. We're not coaching that particular opportunity only. We are working with that person right in front of us.
We're coaching the person, not the problem. Now they may not know that when they come to coaching. They come with a challenge or a problem or something. But eventually we have to say, well, who are you, or how do you need to change for this problem to go away? So it's not a problem solving conversation. It's a future creation conversation.
Yeah. Wonderful. And with that future creation comes that next question.
Nice segue.
Yeah. You segue really well. And you've been in that 3 decades already, and we are walking into the 4th. It's so perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a new dimension altogether because of what we're facing in the world today. In your mind, what do you think coaching will be like in the future? Wow.
I'm part of a group that's talking about the future of coaching, and we've been debating this for a while, and we wanted to see where could coaching show up to help with some of the world problems. A think tank, a coach on every corner. You know, if people showed up instead of a McDonald's hamburger stand, there could be a coach, and you could just go into this tent and get some coaching. So part of the group that we're in, there's a man named Kian. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but he talks about moonshots. And people in the United States and around the world remember when John F. Kennedy talked about going to the moon. We're going to go to the moon in 1963 or 64, right before he was assassinated, actually, a few months before that. We're going to go to the moon in the next 10 years. And we did it. Nobody knew how. The computers that they used weren't even as powerful as my iPhone.
It's true.
So if we talk about moonshots in coaching, what's our moonshot? The future of coaching is, what's the moonshot of coaching, assisting with world challenges? If we're a conversational specialty, how can coaching show up? I mean, there's coaches in the United Nations now, and there's coaching in lots of other places, but how can it be so prevalent that it's non-political, not tamed by boundaries, but just everybody can have a coach to think about what they want to change and collaborate. So the moonshot, the idea of a moonshot is what we need.
Absolutely. And it's achievable. It's
if you see it, it can become real.
It's not impossible. And even though we thought that going to the moon was pretty impossible, but it was possible, right? It was made possible with someone having that vision, someone having that dream. And
hard to believe it was so many years ago that we landed on the moon with the technology we had then. It's just amazing. So how could coaching be something that's like a moonshot?
It just so aligns with what I often say. It's how we need to democratize coaching.
Yes.
Because I still do most of my coaching with executives. Don't get me wrong, right? I love it. It pays well, It's
Yeah.
And yet there is this cry, some sort of like sounding from every part of the organization. If we just talk about systemically in the organization,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? Why not for the young? Why not for the managers? Why not for
Right. Yeah, I've had a nonprofit for 12 years called Coaching the Global Village. And originally it was to teach coach approach in the villages of Africa, to places in Haiti, Jamaica. I got grants, and we taught people how to have coaching conversations, not to become coaches,
Yep.
but to solve problems at the local level with conversations about that. And the funding ran dry. So lately I've been working with prisoners. I trained, my school that I sold trained over 100 prisoners in a federal prison in the United States. Now we're working with those that are out. I just did a talk last night for Pittsburgh Coaches Association on the 19 men that I've been mentoring that have gotten out of prison, and none of them have gone back.
Wow.
None of them. So that's a recidivism rate of 0.
Yep.
And I think that's where coaching organizations, the ICF, other places how can we reach the people who can't afford coaching? You call it democratize. I like that term. We can have our high paying clients, but how do we have coaching be available to those who can't afford it?
Absolutely. I love what you're saying, and I'm sure there will be something that can be done. It's a moonshot, and yet it's reachable.
Yep.
Thank you. Pat, if you had the chance to do it all over again, and this is a big one, right? What would you do differently?
I felt kind of like a lone wolf back then. I had some contacts that we were at Coach University and other places I took training. But it's like we had to make it up. I'm going to find clients. I'm going to coach. I think collaboration is important. And that's how I built my school. I trained some people, then they became my faculty. So if I could do it all again, I probably would have a bigger picture. I think my school could have been bigger. I don't mean financially. It would have helped financially, but I think it could have been replicated in more places. We did license in Turkey and Korea and China and places for a while, but I didn't have the business sense of how to do that. So collaborating with somebody that had a bigger vision. When I started coaching when the movement started in 95, 96, the internet was new. I mean, we were taking classes by telephone. I had AOL addresses. Clients would call me on a bridge line. That was all brand new. Nowadays, with Zoom and everything else, it's easy to connect globally.
It's true. It's so true.
So I don't know. I think what I would have done differently is maybe engage people in my vision. I was always generous. I mean, I paid my staff well way back then because they helped me have a school and do training and do speaking around the world. So they were rewarded greatly for keeping my vision alive. That's a lot of answers to your question, but
but I hear you, and that's so true, isn't it? What is the world without collaboration?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Connection is my middle name. It's like if it's worth doing, it's not worth doing alone. That's what I believe.
Yeah. And we're on this call, right? Thanks to Zoom, thanks to
Here we are.
Talking
Colorado to Australia.
Fantastic. We're almost coming to the end of this lovely time, Pat. It's
okay.
The question where I'm going to ask you is masterful wisdom that you want to leave behind for budding coaches that are coming in to this brave world of coaching?
Yeah, I thought about that when I looked at your questions, and I think it's to understand that coaching is a service profession. We're being of service to people, and we need to, we listen well, we learn all the competencies, but how do we receive the client, their words and their spirit? How do we receive that? And not think we have to know something or be an expert or have answers. We just need to create that sacred space, that presence. And a lot of it is uplifting consciousness. We call it awareness in coaching, but eventually it's consciousness. So I think the wisdom is that coaching is deceptively simple. It looks like it's just listening and conversation and this, but there's a lot of mastery behind that.
Yeah.
Not like mastery, like a black belt in karate but like as a master coach, I say, I might be a masterful coach, but I'm not always masterful. There may be times I screw up, or there may be times I'm not connected.
Me too. I agree. Especially with the children, I'll say it. It's like, are you coaching me now? I'm like, no.
Yeah, right.
It's not the right.
Oh, my kids used to say, that's your psychobabble. Don't use your psychobabble on me. But when I started coaching, they didn't know it. It was like stealth.
But these days the kids are just, really sharp.
But even with clients, there may be days that I'm knocked off my center because of something that happened in my life. And so I talk a lot about that these days. Whatever's going on in your life as a human being, you still need to put it aside to be present with your clients. You need to be present.
We ask powerful questions. So this is your powerful question that you want to give to everyone listening.
Well, as I teach in my mentor groups, you might have a list of all kinds of powerful questions, but you don't know if they're powerful until you've asked them. And eventually you need to forget all the learning and just be present with your client and ask what comes from the context of the conversation. So here's my most favorite masterful question that at some point, probably in the early stages of working with a client, a lot of people want to say, well, what do you want for your life, right? What's your purpose? What do you want for your life? And I like to turn that around and say, what if the question instead was, what does your life want for you? That's my question.
Wow. Never had that question before.
It's almost like, what is your future calling you to be? So what does your life want for you? Because you're following a path. Yes, you have a purpose. Everybody's got a unique purpose. But instead of saying, what do you want to do? How do you want to be? What does your life want for you?
That's beautiful.
Not what do you want for your life?
Whew.
See, that was powerful.
Wow. Tell us how we can connect with you.
Well, my website is drpatwilliams.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn. Facebook is facebook.com/doccoach, DOCCOACH. And I'm really proud to say that my online course just got approved by the ICF for 38 hours of credit. And you can find out about that at www.consciouslivingmastery.com. It's a course for therapists and coaches and consultants who want to look into their own personal development and, with the new competencies at the ICF about the being of the coach and the mindset of the coach. That's what this is about. So www.consciouslivingmastery.com. ICF credits available. And my books are listed at Amazon. They're also on my website. So
wonderful. It's just a pleasure to have you on this call. And I just want to say thank you so much, not just to be on this call, but thank you for your body of work, how you have stepped out of that zone and walked into this new. Of course, you have grown along the way. Of course, you have also transform along the way, but it is that choice that you made back then that made all the difference to all of us here. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome, Mel, and thank you for this piece of my legacy, because it, you know, at some point when I leave this earth, it's going to be like, hey, these videos are available. Look at old Dr. Pat back then, you know. Who knows?
There we go again. It's videos and tapes.
Oh yeah, yeah. This digital recording.
I would have said DVD. You know what I mean?
At least we didn't talk about an 8-track.
Oh my gosh! This is the 100 Master Coaches. I'm Coach Mel, and together with Dr. Pat Williams, saying goodbye, but see you on the next one. Take care for now.
Thank you, Mel.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
You have been watching the 100 Master Coaches series with your host, Coach Mel, MCC. Brought to you by Catalyst Coach. www.catalystcoach.live. We will be right back with our next Master Coach on the 100 Master Coaches series.